KCLR Sport.
The Carlow Senior Hurling Final Preview Special with Affidea, Ireland's leading provider of MRI scans at Dean Street, Kilkenny. Affidea.ie. Nothing is more important than health.
Eddie Coady, Leinster Rangers senior hurler. Eddie, county final lay just upon you now, and you've been involved in a good few of them down through the years, Eddie, and obviously you're still as hungry as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at the 11th hour now. I guess Sunday is not too far away. We've a reasonably short run in this year due to the drawn game, I guess, so we don't have too much time to sit back and enjoy the occasion of actually getting there. We have to push on straight away from last Sunday. For sure, yeah, we've been in a few of them down through the years, but I think county finals, no matter when you're in them, they bring their own sense of wanting to win on the day, that the whole expectation of ourselves and of the parish is rekindled every year you're in it.
Yeah, and I mentioned with Kieran there, you're fairly battle hardened after those two semi-final games against Erin's Own. Both the first and the replay were tough battles, and ones that'll keep you, I suppose, on your toes. And it was tough to go over the line, Eddie, but you got there. Yeah,
absolutely. Every game you win, especially in championship, is a good win. As Kieran has already alluded to, Banglastown poses a lot of problems. They work extremely hard, and they have a great spine of hurlers down through the middle, especially not taken from the guys on the wings. They have plenty of good finishers there as well, and we found it very hard to shake them off on both occasions, and thankfully we just pipped them on the second day.
Yeah, and what do you put it down to? A lot of people were a little bit critical of you guys, called it fairly or unfairly, whatever way you want to look at it. And Erin's on the other hand maybe didn't get the credit they deserve. Is that a view you kind of go along with? Is there somewhere in between, a bit of balance between those two arguments?
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely Erin's on didn't get the credit they deserve. Now, I suppose Erin's on going into both games had nothing to lose, really. They could just go out and hurl with abandonment, and if they pulled off a victory, everyone was going to say tell them it was a massive result for them, whereas we were on the other side of that. But I definitely think that Erin's On, while someone gave me a stat the other day that they've been in 3 county semi-finals and won 2 of them, so they tend to win the ones they're in. Maybe they're not in them often enough, but when they get there, they do cause teams trouble.
And looking at that, of course, you mentioned, it's probably, and other lads were saying, it's a difficult enough game to go up to that, or to get up for when so much is expected of you and probably so little of the opposition. But, on Sunday, I suppose a lot of focus now is probably on St. Mullins going for 3 in a row and stuff like that. And that might kind of suit you in your own little way.
I guess so, but I mean, we put, I suppose, internal pressures on ourselves to perform also. There is a lot of talk, I guess, about St. Mullins. They are the form team. They are the team hitting form at the right time of the year. They're putting up the big scores, where we're struggling a little with scoring at the moment. Chances are kind of being created but not finished, so we're hoping we can finish a few more on Sunday. Whereas St. Mullins, I suppose, on the other hand, they're racking up the 120s, where win most championship games in most counties. So we're going to have to get up a little bit and hope to curtail some of their forwards on the day as well.
Yeah, a few of those that are in form, obviously Mouse and James Doyle and Seamus Murphy in very good form, and they're lads you'll have to keep the shackles on.
Yeah, the 3 you mentioned are 3 top class hurlers at St. Mullins. From a forward point of view, they can score from the sideline, they can score from under the stands. They have pace, they have power, and they have striking ability, and obviously back through the middle of their team with Jack Kavanagh and Paddy Keogh and John Doran, these guys are top class hurlers also.
Looking back on it there, I mentioned to Kieran Lucas as well that 2006 it was kind of a real coming of age year for you. It's 10 years back now, and more often than not, yourself and St. Mullins have been thereabouts. But it's been a serious enough decade, in fairness, and obviously there's a big game ahead of you on Sunday. But just looking back on the decade as a whole, you've been very, very successful, and it's obviously one that maybe before that came along that you maybe thought you mightn't have been a part of, but obviously one that you're obviously glad to be a part of now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 10 years ago, if someone had to kind of see into the future and tell us we would have achieved what we've achieved between then and now, I mean, I don't think we would have believed them as such. A lot of work went in pre-2006, I suppose. We had lost a few semi-finals, lost a few finals, and we were kind of slowly but surely creeping closer and closer to the ultimate. And once we kind of got the win, I think we kind of let the shackles go a little bit, and we got a bit of momentum through the end of the 2000s and into the 2010s with some good victories. And as you say, I suppose Mullins and ourselves have, I guess, dominated that decade. I mean, if you go back to the 90s, Neve Owen and St Mullins would have dominated a decade or so. So it's just hurling goes in circles like that, and when you get a bunch of guys together like we did, I suppose in the last 10 years, you try and get the maximum out that you can.
And do you reckon is the hunger now in the squad as strong as it has been in previous years? When you were contesting all Ireland finals and indeed win them as well. Is it difficult to maintain that hunger, Eddie? And how do you kind of feel it is now in comparison to other years?
I think the hunger is still every bit as strong as it ever was. There is, I guess, the nucleus of the team is kind of the same, but there's a good bunch of players after coming into it. There's also a few after going out the other side of it. So it's ever changing, the team. So I think the hunger is every bit as good. The mileage on the legs on a few of us is probably a little bit more than they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But no, I think the hunger is still there. And I mean, I suppose when you look from my side of it back down, you don't have too many years left to win the O'Connor Cup. So you're really hoping that you can pull this one out.
Yeah, and you mentioned two lads, James Hickey and Gary Doyle, two big leaders who have moved along, but you've Kevin McDonald and Chris Nolan now, so the conveyor belt is as strong as ever. You've won the last 4 minors, you're going to contest the 5th final in a row this year, and those lads will be keeping everyone on their toes over the next 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned two outstanding young hurlers, 2 outstanding guys with talent that we're very, very lucky to have. But talent alone won't win county championships either. You need a little bit of grit between the teeth also. But when the basis of the hurling skill is there, we can work on the rest of it with these guys and maximise their potential.
Finally, then, Eddie, is there a particular area or facet of the game that you think you need to target, on Sunday in order to go over the line?
Well, I think we need to look internally at ourselves first from our scoring rate. We need to up our own scoring rate. We haven't hit, I suppose, what we would have hit a couple of years ago. Not on the scoreboard anyway. There's plenty of chances being squandered in the middle of it there somewhere. So we're definitely trying to target our own scoring to try and up it a little bit, and maybe try and curtail St Mullins a small bit. Won't be an easy job on the day either, but I mean, we'll definitely try and keep their scoring down and ours up, and hopefully ours will outweigh theirs at the end.
KCLR Sport.
The Carlow Senior Hurling Final Preview Special with Affidea, Ireland's leading provider of MRI scans at Dean Street, Kilkenny. Affidea.ie. Nothing is more important than health.